Hi, this is Carol with Living Real with Carol, and I'm going to show you how I make skinny dough that I use for a lot of things. This originally comes from mybusykitchen.com. You can look it up. And I make this dough and use it to make pigs in a blanket. We make pizza with it, the best pizza. I prefer this pizza over any other pizza. I've used it for cheesy eggs, where I make a circle and break the egg in the middle and use Canadian bacon and onion and tomatoes. It's just a wonderful thing. So I'm going to make a recipe and a half so that I have 6 portions to save for during the week. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3/4 of a cup of warm water and let that get warm. And this is yeast. You can buy yeast like this, or you can buy it in individual packets. I use a lot, so I buy the larger container. And what we're going to do is we are going to use a teaspoon, which is this, and a half, since we're doing a recipe and a half. And I can tell you already, the measurements don't make that big a difference, but that's about a teaspoon and a half. So we're done with the yeast. And we're going to add to that, this is 3/4 of a cup. And we're going to add some warm water, because we know that warm water makes yeast rise. And since I've already used this measuring cup, I'll go ahead and mix that up. And we're going to set that aside for a few minutes and just let that activate. And hopefully it'll become a little bit foamy and bubbly. There's a little piece of, there we go. Get that down in the water. Okay. So the basic recipe calls for 2 cups self-rising flour and a ½ cup of non-fat plain Greek yogurt. I'm going to do a recipe and a half, so I'm doing 3 cups of flour. So watch what I do. I do 1, 2, and I'm going to put about a ½ cup, and then the other ½ cup I'm going to save, because we'll need a little bit of flour when we're working our dough in a few minutes. So 2½ cups. And now that it calls for a ½ cup, but since I'm making a recipe and a half, we're going to use 3/4 of a cup of plain Greek yogurt. Let me grab a spoon. And this is the first measuring cup set I ever got that had a 3/4 cup measure, which actually comes in handy. So that's not exactly leveled off. So 3/4 of a cup of plain, non-fat Greek yogurt. All right. A little bit of salt. This is my little salt container. It used to belong, I think it's probably a jam container. It had a little spoon at one time, but I keep my salt in it. This belonged to my mother-in-law, Lillian. And so just a pinch, it says a ½ teaspoon, so a little bit of salt. I did several pinches there. Okay, so let me set that aside. And then we're just going to stir it. And add our 3/4 a cup of water with the yeast. Now the regular 2-ingredient dough is basically this minus the yeast. However, it takes more of the yogurt to make the 2-ingredient dough. Basically, it's equal portions of flour and yogurt. So I like the more yeasty taste to it. Yeah, well, if you knock some out, then that's okay. Okay, what I'm noticing about this is that it's a little dry, and so I'm going to add just a little bit more water. Just a little bit. going to mix it together. And that was just the right amount right there. Okay. And this is where we're going to use the extra flour. Not the extra flour, but the ½ cup of flour that we set aside. Okay, this is my handy dandy pastry mat. And we're going to sprinkle flour on it. And you'll notice I've got Pam also. And I'm going to spray my hands. Actually, probably should have waited a second or two because then I'm going to get Pam all over my spoon and bowl, but that's okay. Alrighty, so now you have all the dough out here. And sprinkle a little bit of the reserved flour on top. And it is going to be a little sticky, but that's okay. You want it a little sticky. Now, 3 cups of flour. Basically, you have, well, you do have 6 half-cup portions in it because 6 portions will, half cups equal 3 cups. So there we go. And you see that's sticking to the pastry mat, so we use a little bit more of that flour. And probably I didn't need to spray my hands with Pam a few minutes ago. I guess I use Pam when I'm doing pizza dough and trying to roll it out in different sizes. So, alrighty. See how I kind of half turn and press it, hit the ball of my hand, stick it over here in the flour. Okay, you don't need to do it much, knead it very much. Okay, so you try to get a nice square. Now, I don't know if you have a pastry cutter or not. This is what it looks like. But it actually comes in handy. I actually use this a good bit. You want to cut it in half. And then cut each half into 3. Trying to make it as even as you want to. Now then, if you really want to make sure that your portions are exact, you can get a food scale. And this is a food scale I've had for years. I took some cooking classes at the Viking store about 10 years ago. And it's wonderful. I use it a lot. So let's see how close we are to even. Okay, that's 100, sorry, it's grams, 119 grams. 102 grams, so let's add a little bit to this one. That's 113, let's take a little bit off. 110. 111, that's close enough. 110, 111. Oh, 130. Okay, that's, boy, it doesn't take much, does it? Okay, that's about 112. My goodness, 125. Okay, that's about 112. Wow. Let's add more to all of these from this one because this one's up to 148. And I'm seeming to think that, okay, that's at 130. So let's see what these others are. I think they're, yeah, that's 135. A little bit more. Okay, you don't need to get real crazy about it. Close enough. Add a little bit more to this one. Very good. Okay, they're all within just a little bit. Whoops, except I got a little bit more. Anyway, okay. So basically, it's not that big a deal, but these are all essentially, you know, it might be a little bit more, but basically they're all the same size. So let me wash my hands right quick since I've got dough all over them. And this is where the Pam comes into play. You didn't need that earlier, so forget I said that. Alrighty. So what I do now is I spray them so they won't stick, basically. And I get Ziploc bags and I pat them together and put them in the Ziploc bag, and that is 1/2 cup flour portion for each bag. And I put these in my refrigerator and keep them there, and they'll keep in the refrigerator for, I don't know, for at least a week, and we'll use these in a week because 2 of them at least will be used for pizzas, because each one is 1 portion of pizza. You spread it out and pat it out on your pizza pan, and it makes a really good and filling portion for a pizza crust. I plan on making more pigs in a blanket. I'm going to make some to freeze because I really enjoyed that when I tried that for the first time this past week. So I'll have 6 portions of this, and I can use it for different meals during the week. Some people use these to make bagels or just simple rolls. So you can do whatever you need bread for. You've got this ready bread that's easy to work with, and it's ready to go. So I hope you'll give it a try. You see, it only took a few minutes, and I've got bread for a whole week of menus. So this is Carol, living real, I can't talk. This is Carol, living real with Carol. Hope you make it a good day.